Learn to create this island in Unreal Engine 5. If you are new to Unreal Engine and want to create environments, then this video is for you. You will learn how to create landscapes using different procedural tools. You will learn how to add water systems like oceans, rivers, and lakes, and we will also go through a simple material setup for our landscape. You will learn the techniques I use to set dress the environments to make them look pretty, and we will go through the foliage systems, art fundamentals, and how to polish your scene to have a beautiful environment for your game. If you want to support the work we do, make sure to check our website to access to premium and free tutorials, project files, and our Unreal Marketplace products. And if you want to learn even more, consider becoming a member on our channel to access all our tutorials library. Alright, let's start by creating a new level. Let's go to File, New Level, and here we'll go to the basic one. We don't need the open world, so let's click on this, and here you will have a new level. So what I want to do here is to start creating my landscape. So if you're really new to Unreal, I will show you how to navigate around the viewport, and if you are not new, feel free to skip this part. So in order to navigate around the world, we just need to right click and we will be able to rotate the camera, left mouse click to just move around kind of like a spaceship or something, and middle mouse click to pan around the camera. And if I choose an object such as this one, I can press F, and with Alt and left click I can just rotate around. All right, I can also hold the right mouse click and move around, and if I scroll up and down I can move faster or I can move slower. Just using the WASD keyboard I can just move around, kind of like a first-person shooter or a game like you're playing. If you're familiar with playing games, then you will feel at home in Unreal. So before starting out, there are some things I want to show you, because we're going to create an island. We're going to go to Edit, we're going to Plugins, and we're going to activate a couple of them. The first one is the Landmass. Okay, make sure you have the Landmass here. And the second one is the water. Okay, it's just called water, not water extras, just water. And once you click here, you will need to restart the editor. I already have that, so I don't need to do that. But with that in place, we are ready to start creating our island. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to delete the default floor that comes with this level. Okay, just hit delete here, and then I'm just going to create a landscape. But before that, let's just save this environment by go to File and choose Save Current Level, or you can also choose Ctrl S with your keyboard. We can go to Content, right click, New Folder, and let's just call this my I don't know, new environment, something like that. Okay, and here we will call this my new amp level 01, something like that. Okay, you can put any name you want, and just like that we have an empty map. Okay, as you can see, I have a bunch of folders here, and the reason is I created my project with a third-person sample. Okay, so just ignore that. You can either do it or not, depends on you. What you want to do is to go here to select mode, and you can go to landscape. Okay, and here you will have a bunch of options. Okay, let's go from the top to the bottom. First, I'm going to enable edit layers. So I have a bunch of layers I can use. Just like Photoshop, you can have a different layer if you want to try some things out. And if it doesn't work, you can erase it or delete the layer if you want. The material, we're going to create it later. For now, just leave it empty. This here, we're not going to touch, but here we can change the size of our landscape. I'm going to create a very small one. So I feel like 8 components by 8 components, it's okay. You can see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8 by 8, like 64. So what I'm going to do is to basically increase the sections for component by 2 by 2. So it can be a little bit bigger. Okay, we're not going to create a huge one, but just a tiny one. Let's create. Okay, and now that we have this, notice that I have a layer here. Okay, and I have a bunch of options here I can use to sculpt. Okay, so what I want to do is to right click here, create, and I will create a new layer. The reason is I want to try out some things. So I can increase the brush size like this, and I can choose something like I want. I can increase the strength if I want, and I can just sculpt it here. Okay, and we can do this something like this to create our island, something like this. Okay, and notice that because we're in the new layer, I can decrease the intensity, something like that. Okay, and if I put 0, it's like nothing happened. Okay, I can put something like this. If I want to erase the data, I can go to my erase one, and I can just delete these parts. But you know, it's going to take a while. So if you really want to delete some data, you can just right click, delete, or you can clear the sculpt data if you want. Okay, click yes, or you can either delete it completely. You can just right click and delete, and say yes, and you only have your first layer, which cannot be deleted, of course. Okay, so what I want to do here is to create some small mountains, but I won't be able to create them really nicely with my sculpt tools. Although they are nice and they are very good to polish some details in my landscape, especially when I had some gameplay, I'm going to use this part that is called blueprint. Okay, so we're gonna do that next. So how do we create our blueprint? Well, if we go here, you will see that I have a blueprint brush, and I have a bunch of brushes. Okay, so before doing that, I'm going to create a new layer because I don't want to destroy my base layer. And let's rename this as a base. Okay, then create a new layer, right click, rename, and put landmass. Okay, so if I go here to my blueprint, I go to my blueprint brush, I can just select my custom brush landmass. And once I click this, nothing has happened, and the reason is I haven't clicked the position where my landmass I want it to be. So I can just click here, and you will see that I have a small mountain here. So let's take a look at how it looks like. I'm going to remove this landscape mode by pressing Shift 1. You can either go to select or go here, or I can just toggle with Shift 1 and Shift 2. Okay, I can just right click and play from here. You will notice that my mountain is super small. Okay, so what I want to do is to make it a little bit bigger and add some details into it. Okay, so let's do that now. What we're going to do is to go to landscape. Okay, and notice here, if I go to my sculpt, I won't be able to select my spline points. If I go with Alt 3 and Alt 2, I can toggle between different modes here. Okay, Alt 2 and Alt 4, Alt 3. And if I go to Alt 2, I go to wireframe, and I want to choose this point to move it, but I cannot really because I'm in sculpt mode. So make sure you're in blueprint mode. So now that you have this, the first time you select, you will select the whole brush. So I can just move it here like this, and everything will move. Okay, now if I select again while I'm selecting this, I will select a spline point, so I can just move it like this. Okay, and I can select different spline points. I can just put it like this, something like that. And if I want to add more spline points, I can just right click, add spline point here, and I can just move it around. I can go to the handles and change the handles if I want. Okay, and I can just move it around. I can select here, and I can do, and with Alt, holding Alt and left mouse click, and can just duplicate another one. I can just put something like this, and I can just keep duplicating. For me, I feel like I don't really want to overcomplicate things. Let's create the simple shape here, like use something like this, and maybe something like this could be nice. Okay, and let's just leave this one maybe like this. Okay, so now that we have this, what I want to do is to add a bunch of details. And if you notice here in my right side of my viewport, I have my details panel. My details panel will allow me to modify the properties of any actor I have selected in my viewport. So what I can do, of course, is to invert this shape if I want, and it will do a negative one. I can do an alpha blend. I can put the minimum, I can put the maximum, or I can just put the additive or the alpha blend, which is the default. This will come in handy when we have more than just one landmass. Okay, we can either cap the shape, and you notice that when we cap the shape, our landscape is like flat, and we can change the C offset here, so we can put like 500 if we want. Okay, and if not, we can just remove the offset, leave it like this. Okay, next is the fall off. We can put 0 if you want, or 45, 90, and as I decrease this, you will see that you have like a smoother fall off. I can put something like 36. Okay, I can also change the fall off width like 248 or something like that. The next thing, okay, let's go to the material. We don't really need to touch anything of that, like static mesh and spline mesh. We're not going to use it. Okay, let's go to the second parts that are the effects, because my landscape, it's a little bit boring, so I'm going to add some effects here. First, I want to add some blur. If I put like 10, you will notice that I have like a around the mountain. I can just put 50 here and you will see what's going on here. If you want to create something like this, that's totally fine. I'm not going for that. I'm just going to put like something like 2 or 3, so it's not so sharp. If I put like 0, it will be very sharp, and I don't want that. So I will just go to put 2. Then here in the core noise, I have my core 1 strength and my core 2 strength. Okay, and I have the tiling for each of us. So here, you don't want to put a value like 10 because you will break it. From 0 to 1 usually is the best, so just move it a little bit like this, so you can have some shapes here. And if you're not happy with the shapes, you can just go to the spline points and move it around. You will see that because it's procedurally generated, you will have different choices to play with. So if you don't like the shape, you can just move around some things. Okay, the next one is the core 2 strength, so I can just go something like this. There you go. And I can also change the tiling, something like 4, 16, 32 if I want. Okay, I can put 24. And here the second tiling, I can either put 2, I can either put 10. Let's try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 looks like a good number. I'm going to add another spline point here, and you will notice that everything changes. I can just go inside to create this nice concave shape. Okay, just something like this, and I can do the same here. I can just move it around. Okay, let's try to play with our settings here. The next one is a displacement. If I put something like 1 or 2, you won't see any difference. So you need to put something like 248, and you will see that I have like noise going on here. I don't really want that, so I'm just going to put something like 512 just to have a little bit of noise on 124. Then the displacement tiling, I can just put like 4 or 1 or 1.5 if I want. Okay, notice that I'm having some issues here. I can either go here and move it up. Okay, if I go down, you will see that I'm going down and I'm doing the alpha blend, so I can just move it up a little bit. Okay, let's just leave it like that. The next one is the outer and inner smooth threshold. I'm going to play with the outer one, which what it will do is to smooth this transition that connects to the landscape. Okay, With that, we can have really nice smooth transitions. So we can put something like 512, and you will see what's going on here. If I put like 0, this is the default transition. I can put something like 2000, and you will see that it's having a nice smooth transition. Now let's try to play our game. So let's right click, play from here, and the mountain, I think the size, it's okay, but if you really wanted to change it, you can just scale this if you want, and you will have a different result. And also make sure here you remove the snap here, and here you can use snap, make it bigger or smaller. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is how easy we can create another mountain. So instead of going here, go to the landscape, go to my blueprint and select a custom landmass here, I will just go here, okay, and I will just right click, duplicate, and I will move it around just like that. And I can rotate this, I can make it bigger if I want. Okay, I can either cap the shape and I can move it like this. Okay, and I can make something like this, for example. Looks really nice. I can go to this one and I can make it bigger, and I can rotate it a little bit if I want, and I can even blend these two. And the reason they blend really nicely is because I have my this one here, outer smooth. If I put like 0, it won't blend really nicely. Okay, so, and also here you don't want alpha blend. If you want to do additive, or if you want to do min, this will give you a different result. So just have fun with it and play with the settings. So you can see that just by using landmass, we are able to create different shapes easily, and we can change the properties of these ones very, very easy. So the next thing I want to do is to create an ocean, so we can have an island surrounded by the ocean. So let's do that next. So the next thing we will add is our water. So it's going to be very simple. You will just go to place here, check the green plus icon and type water, and you will see a bunch of actors. If you don't have this, it's because you haven't activated the plugin that I mentioned before. Just make sure you go to edit plugins, activate water, and restart the editor. So what I want to do is to add a water body ocean. So let's do that. Let's drag this here and let's put it here. Okay, and notice that all my landscape is destroyed. So what I want to do is to put the location here to 100. Okay, and what's happening here is that this water body ocean, it's modifying the landscape. Okay, so if we go to our landscape, you can see that my water is on top. We can, if we don't want to modify the landscape, we can just put it here. Okay, not the landmass, the water. You can just not the base, sorry. Let's move the landmass up. Oops, so strange. Let's move the water down. There you go. Okay, and now that we have our base also will be, let's move the base down. There you go. So you notice that I have removed quite a significant space for my landscape. If it's something that you want to do, that's totally fine. If you go here to water, you will see that my water, basically, it's below. Okay, I can just put the water here. Let's move the base here. Okay, so what happened here is that my water has some spline points. This is basically, let's click on the spline point here. Let's go to our water. Not here. There you go. Okay, let's try to click it right. So let's go here. Okay, let's go to, let's save this. Okay, and let's select the, let's just do it here, like water body ocean. Okay, so you can see here that my water body ocean, it's only occupying this space, and the reason why these two are showing is because my layer of landmass is on top of the water. So this is my water, this is my mountains, and this is the base. So anything that is here in this volume will be part of the landmass. So if I want to make my island bigger, I just need to increase the size of this so I can have more land to cover. Okay, now there is another thing you will see here. It's very hard to see, but there is, these are the boundaries of my landscape actually. So my water won't go beyond this. So let's change the spline point. So if I go here to my spline point, okay, I can go here and move it here, and you will see that as I move it, I have more land to play with. I go to the next part like this. I can also leave it like this if I want. Okay, I can go here, play here. I can either move it, but you can see here that my water is a little bit darker here, and what it means is that these are the boundaries of my landscape. Like the water is extended across all my level, okay, to give you the illusion that the ocean, it's everywhere. But in reality, my landscape is this size, which is what I created before. So make sure you have the size you want, okay? Let's go to the other spline point. Where is it? So I have my one, there you go, this one. We can do something like this, or we can just leave it like this, okay? Let's leave it like this for now. There you go. Okay, great. So now that we have this, we have the water surrounding our ocean, and you notice that it will also create some blend here. So if I go here, it's actually blending quite nicely here. Let's play from here. If I go here, you will see that I'm actually underwater. Okay, and there you go. Now you have your small little island. So what I can do here, it's move this water body ocean. I can just, let me move this spline a little bit, so we, looks like our terrain is a little bit big, so let's just leave it like that. And also what I can do is change the position of this to 0. Okay, so it's like on 0, 0, 0. And with this you will see that you have like this part here is blending here with this one, so it's fine. Let's just leave it like that. The next thing we're going to do is to add some rivers and some lakes for our landscape. Okay, so let's add some rivers, and it will be very easy. We just need to go here and put water, just like we did before, and here you will find a river. So we can just drag it here, and you will notice that by default I have a river here. I can just go here and put it here in the position where my landscape is ending, so my river flows through the ocean. Okay, I can also change the spline point. I can just move it here if I want it, and also like move it here too. Okay, there you go. And notice that it's actually affecting my landscape. Okay, so if I just go here and hold Alt and move it up, you will see that I am actually modifying the landscape I had here. Okay, I can just go here, something like that. And let's wait for the water shader to finish loading. Usually this takes a lot of time. So what we can do is to drag these planes until we have the river shape that we want. Okay, so we can just move it around here, and notice that as I move my river, my landscape, it's also being affected. Okay, so I can just move it here if I want, and here is very easy to see that my river, it's actually like affecting the landscape. If you encounter this kind of issue, like where you don't see the water, just go to the spline points and move it up a little bit, just like that. Okay, and also what you can try to select is go to the landscape and try to put the water on top of the landmass, so it has the, you know, the priority here. In my case, I don't really want that, so I will just go move the water below the landmass. Let's just move it like this. There you go. Okay, and also I can just move this one here. I can just go to my water. Let's go to the spline point, and we can just move it around, move it like this. Okay, and there we have our river. Okay, I can just continue here. Usually the river flows from the oceans, so let's try to make something here. Let's just rotate, move it up, and let's just continue here. Okay, and also let's move it up a little bit, just like that. Okay, and also here you can just decrease it to blend with your landscape. And if you have something like this, in this case, let's just move the water like this. Okay, so we don't have any issue here. And if you don't see the water, let's go back to Shift1, click here on this one, move it up, and there you go. And here we can just play with this a little bit. So you can just move the river here. Okay, you can do the like a zigzag here, something like this, and then something like this. Have like a river here, and also you can move it up, like it starts from the very top, just like that. And there we have it. Now we have our river here, and it's flowing nicely. You will see that it's blending really nicely with our landscape. If this happens, you can just move it down a little bit. There you go, not too much. There you go, just a tiny bit. Okay, so now if let's play our level here, you will see that I have my river, and I'm having the transition here. Okay, and my river is flowing from the mountains. Okay, if you want to change this, just feel free to modify the spline points. Like for example here, you can just do something like this. This is not very natural, but you know, you can just put something like this, so we can have like a clear point of interest. And of course you can go to your landscape, go to the landmass, and select one of those, and you can either move it up or move it down if you want. Okay, you can also change here the blending, and there you go. Okay, so this is how the river works. It's not only flat, but you can also play with the height, so you can have something like this, and you can have multiple rivers. Okay, so for example, I can use here to go to my landscape here, go to water. Okay, and let's place a water. Let's go here, water. Let's place another river, just like that. And we can just go to Shift1, and we can just move this around, and we can even blend, like the rivers can flow and end in different directions, just like this. Okay, so now that we have this, let's add like a small lake or having something nice here, and then we're gonna modify the properties of our river so it can look a little bit nicer. Okay, and also this part, if you want to blend like this, make sure you move it up a little bit, so just like this. Okay, and also make sure you go, maybe you can just go here and also move it like this, okay, just like that. Okay, but this is fair enough. You can rotate if you want, or move the handles. Okay, so let's just leave it like that. Okay, you can move it like this if you want, or like this, and there you go. Now you have your river that is flowing through the ocean. So if I want to add a river, it will be very easy. I can just go, sorry, not a river, a lake. Go to lake here, and then just try it out. And notice that this one cannot be changed in the z-axis. I cannot move it. I can only move this around the x and y axis. Makes sense because it's a river. So we can just come here at a spline point. We can put like a nice river here. And what we can do is actually put another, let's put a river. Sorry, I was talking about the, it was the lake, not the river. Now let's go here. Let's just put it here. Let's see how it blends. It blends really nicely. So let's come back here. Let's move it around. And just like this, if you find this kind of issue, move the terrain until you find like it's blending nicely. Okay. Better put it in the place where your spline will plateau. Let's move this around, something like this, and then it will be easier to play with our river. We can just come here and go down a little bit, or go up, sorry. Something like this. Okay, looks okay. We can also play with the height of this one, just like this, and add another spline point here. I just move it around like this. Make sure like this one is blending nicely, so we can just move this around, just like that. You want to see the water outside, and also here. There you go. So now we have like our river starts, our island starts looking like a resort. You can also change like the current noise like of the lake. You have like a 2 or 0.1. Okay, so you can have like another 0.1 here, or 0.5, to make it look, you know, a little bit more irregular here, just like that. Be careful with this. You don't want to put too many high values. Another thing you can do is to add a lake here. Let's just put it here. Okay, let's just put the default values. We can move the spline point a little bit if we want. Okay, something like this. And we can go to the effects and change this to something like this. Okay. Oh no, do not move the spline. Move the lake. We can put something like this, for example, where our lake, like we have like a small little lakes coming here, and it's not really a lake, like it's more like a puddle. It adds a nice effect. So if we go play here, and also you can play with the minimum here, so or the maximum, and you can play here with the lake, something like this, and you can move it around. And let's put the alpha blend, and let's move it, this one like this, something like that, and just move it a little bit here. There you go, something like this. Okay, have like a little small artifact here, but it really doesn't matter that much. It's just nice to see some irregularities in our landscape. Okay, so just like this, we have like a very funny island where we have like a small mountain, and the rivers flows here. and then you have like a lake, and you have the ocean. That's pretty cool. So let's stop playing with water. We're not playing with water, it's fun, but now let's just try to add some decoration to this island. So it's time to add a material for our landscape. And how we're gonna do that is we're going to use bridge. So here in my content browser, if you don't have it here, you can use Control Space, then add, and then you will go to Quixel content. And here you will see that I have a bunch of assets that I can use. Okay. In my case, I only care about some sand textures for now. So I will just search for beach, go to surface, and then go here to sand. Okay, and there are a bunch of those that you can choose. Feel free to play around. There is not right or wrong for this. I already download some of them, so I feel like we will try it first, and if it doesn't work, we can change it later. But for now, what we will do is to export these textures. So I'm going to export this one, the Coral Beach Sand. Okay, and as soon as I do that, you will see that I have a new folder called Megascans Surface, and I have my textures here. Let's go here. Let's export this one too. Let's go back again and export this one too. Like this one is sand, but we can try it out. Okay. Maybe we want to add some rocks here again. So let's add. And notice that I'm only adding the medium quality. I feel like 2K is more than enough for us. Okay, so let's just start with this 4. Okay, now we're going to create a small landscape here. So, I mean, a small material for our landscape. So let's just go to the content browser. Okay, and in my new environment, I will create a new material. Right click, create new material, and I will call it M landscape. Just like this. I will double click on this. And if you're really new to materials, make sure to check one of our tutorials. Here we have materials for beginners. We also have a complete landscape tutorial for beginners to over 3 hours, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure to check that out. But I will still keep it simple. We won't add any fancy stuff. I'm gonna save everything. And what I'm going to do is to import my textures. So I will start with this one. I will drag the 3 of them and I will put it here. Okay. So I'm going to create a material inside a material. So I will create 4 materials for my 4 bridge assets. I just grab 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be my first one. So here I will drag all of them. And in the sample source, I will put shared wrap. With that means I can put a lot more textures in my material. Okay. Then I will go here, right click, and type make material attributes. And once I have that, I will just plug in the base color here, plug in the normal map here, and my mask, I can just drag the ambient occlusion and my grain channel to the roughness here. And if you want to check which texture is what, you can double click on this, and here you have the textures, you have the ambient occlusion here, you have the roughness, and you have the displacement. Okay, so now that we have this, now we have our material. The next thing, let's add some coordinates to it. So I will press U to grab a texture coordinate, press M to multiply, and press 1 to put a constant. Right click this, and this will be my tiling, and I will put something like 0.05. Okay, let's just drag this and let's just connect these ones here. Okay, just like this, 1 by 1. Now I want to do the same for the next of my next material, so I will just Control C, Control B. Okay, then I will change the texture here. I will go here and I will put it here. I will go to the normal one. I will put it here. I will go to my mask and I will put it here. Okay, I will do it a couple of times now. It's a little bit repetitive, but once we have this, our landscape, it's gonna look quite good. So let's go here, and just by clicking here, putting this arrow, I can change the texture here by whatever asset I'm choosing in my content browser. So I can use Control C, Control V, and let's change this one here. Let's change the normal map, and let's change the mask. And now that we have this, we can just connect the tiling for each one of those. I know it can be a little bit of an annoying thing to do, but you know, that's what game dev is about. Sometimes it's doing repetitive things, like it's just part of the process. We don't have a magic button that does everything, but things are getting a little bit easier over time as time goes and technology help us more. But there you go. Now we have our 4 materials. Let me comment on those by right-clicking, left-clicking, drag, and press C. This will be my layer 1, comment, layer 2, comment again, layer 3, comment again, and layer 4. Okay, so what we need to do is to go to my landscape, and here in Paint you will see that I have layers tab here. You see the layers here. Here I will have all my layers that I can use, and I can select them to paint some sand here, and I can paint something here, and I can paint a bunch of other materials here. So in order to get these layers, I need to assign a material that has the layer information. So we're going to landscape, and then we're going to layer blend. Okay, so we will add 4 of those. Okay, from 0 to 3. Okay, the first one will be called L1, and we will just connect this one here. Okay, the second one will be L2. Okay, and I will connect this one here. But there's another thing I want to do is I'm going to add a height blend, but we will see how this affects us. But here in my blue channel, I have a height. So if I go to cheap contrast, I can drag this here. And if you want to take a look how it looks like, you can just start previewing node. Okay, and let's change the tiling for now, just so we can take a look at how it looks like. Okay, and let's go here, press 1, connect this, and convert to parameter. Let's call height contrast like this, and let's put something like 4, and you will see that I have values where are completely dark and that are completely white. Okay, I will also put a clamp node, and I believe this one already have a clamp, so okay, let's do not put the clamp node. We don't really need it. Let's just put it here. Okay, let's do the same with the rest of the layers. Let's go to the index 2. This will be my layer 3. Let's go to my height, and I will just copy this, and I will put the contrast here, and my blue channel will be this one. Okay, and I will put it here in my layer 3, and also let me move this a little bit. Let's put the layer 3 here, and then let's create the next layer, layer 4, and let's add a height blend. Let's connect our material here. Sorry, do not put it in the height, and this one we can drag and put a cheap contrast. Okay, and now we can drag this in here and just connect this. And to connect this thing here, we cannot do this. Okay, what we need to do is, let's stop previewing this node. Let's go here, click on anywhere in our material, and here in my material attributes, I can just use material attributes here in the material, and you will see that this one already condensed. So let's just put this one here. Let's go back to our tiling of 0.05, click apply, and just like that, we have our material. Now, nothing happens here because we haven't applied our material. So let's save everything, okay? And what I will do is to create a material instance. So if you want to take a look where this is in our content browser, there's Control B and you will find it. Right click, create material instance, put it mi, I don't know, landscape 01, something like this. Just save it. And now I'm going to put my material here. Let's type landscape and just put it here. Now, notice that everything turned into black, and the reason is we haven't told the landscape to use the layers. So if we go here to paint, you will see that I have a bunch of layers, but there is no layer information, because when I paint, I need to tell the landscape, hey, paint layer 1, paint layer 2, and so on. So we need to go to this plus icon and click wait, save, and it will create a new asset. And you can see that it's start to work. So let's go here, wait. Let's go here, wait. And let's go here, wait. Now, let's see if these textures are too big or too small. So play from here. This looks okay to me, actually. Not bad. Okay, so what we're gonna do is to start painting the landscape using using our paint tools, and we will do that next. So let's start playing with our landscape layers. In order to paint this, we're going to our landscape mode, go to the paint tab, and here I can just paint a bunch of layers. So what I can do is to play with my layers here. I can just go here and just start painting. And the first time you paint on something, it will have like a it will load, you know, depending on the component. Like if I paint here, if I paint here, like first it will load the component. So if I paint on this one, for example, I want to paint here, okay, you will see that I have a bunch of options here to paint, and I can paint here too. It's like that. Okay, so what I want to do is to right click here and fill this layer, so everything is using this material. And then what I want to do here is to paint a little bit like this. I will put the tool strength like this, and I can start putting my sand here. Okay, I can just put it here, and notice that this thing is blending. If I start putting more, I won't see the pebbles, so I can just go here and, you know, increase the brush size and paint it like this, just like that. Okay, and I can just continue to paint here. I can also paint some rocks here. Let me decrease the size, and just like this, I can just paint some rocks here and there. There we go, something like this. And notice how our height blend, it's actually helping our landscape to blend really nicely. Okay, let's just put something like this. Let's just take a look at the colors of this one. And looks like we need a darker or a brighter color for our textures. Let's just put something like this. Okay, and the next one we will put the sand like this here. This will help to break the sand we have here. Let's just move it here, make it a little bit bigger. Actually, I like this one more, so let's paint it here just like this, make it bigger, move the sand like this. I can just paint here more. Okay, just like this, and we can paint here too. There you go. Now we will put meshes here to make it look a little bit better. But for now, what I want to do is to check the colors of this. And these ones are too dark for my taste, okay? So what I want to do is to blend it a little bit. So let me just paint here so I can take a look at what's going on. Okay, something like this. And with shift you can delete, okay? So make sure to play with that too. I can just click here and delete with shift, and just by clicking and shifting and clicking and click with shift, and you can have some really nice results here. Okay, and I will also do the same with this one, with the sand here. I will just put it like this, and then just remove it like this, and I can just put it again here, just to have some different elements in our beach. Okay, so let me paint, not this one, let's paint some beach elements here. It's like this, and then this one, we put it like this one is like the pebbles. Okay, now if we take a look at the unlit mode, we have a huge difference between the values of our textures. So let's change those. If we go here, let's go to a rocky beach, double click, and what I will do is to change the values here. I don't really need to change the materials. I want to show you how you can do it here. So if you go to the brightness, I can just go to, for example, 1.2 or 1.5. And you will see that it starts to blend a little bit better. 1.8. Okay, and you will see that my texture is changing. Okay, and I can save this. Let's go to my layer 2 and let's do the same. Okay, so let's change the layer 2. Go here, brightness, let's put something like 1.5. And notice that it starts to blend really nicely. So if put like 2, it will be like the same color of the sand, which can be a little bit, it can be nice, but I want to have just a tiny bit of variation in the color here. Okay, let's just leave it like that. Okay, there you go. Now let's go back to our layer 3, because I feel like this is still a little bit dark. So let's go here and let's go to brightness, put something like 2, well, or 2.5. There you go. Something like that. Looks like it's working really nicely. And the next one, I'm going to try to play with my layer 4. I'm going to put some colors here that match better my landscape. Something like the brightness, like 1.5. There you go, 1.2. Now all our landscape is using more or less the same colors. If we take a look at how it looks with the lid, you will notice that everything is kind of blending nicely, right? Like all the colors like are more or less the same, and just by doing that, we're having like a really nice landscape here that we can use. So we can start painting here. For example, I can go to my landscape and paint some pebbles here. Let's decrease the brush size, and you can just put the pebbles here, and they will look like they are part of the same world. It's not like a complete different texture from another biome. These ones are like blending pretty nicely. We can just blend this one too here, like the sand, just like this. Or maybe the layer 4, we can just go here and be very, very picky with how we paint our landscape. Later we will paint more. Okay, for now let's take a look at how it looks like. Okay, let's take a look at our landscape. Like we have our sand here and we have our pebbles. Looks like we need to change the tiling a little bit. So if we play with our character here, the rocks may be a little bit too big, but that's a very easy fix because we created a material instance here. And you will see that I have here my tiling and my contrast. Notice what happens when the contrast goes to 0. I cannot blend. You have like a smooth blending, but if I put like 4, you will blend the sand on top of the rocks, which looks really nice. So 0.05, let's try 0.08. Now I feel like this is much better. So let's play from here. Okay, this looks nice. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to decorate this a little bit, and we're going to do that using Megascans. So Megascans, it's a library that we can use for free to decorate our environment. So we're going to drag some meshes here, okay, and we're going to take a look at how we can use Megascans to decorate our environment easy. So let's start decorating our landscape. But before dragging some Megascans here, what I want to do is to change the lining, because this is really flat. If we go here to our lining only, you will see that I have almost no shadows. So let's go here, and I can click on the directional light, and with pressing E, I can rotate. So I can just do like this. Okay, and this will be more interesting. But another way to change it is by pressing Ctrl L, and I can just rotate around as I keep pressing Ctrl L until I have like a nice shadows for my landscape. Okay, let's try to rotate the landscape like this. Something like this should be very interesting. So let's just keep it like that for now. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to, let me move it up a little bit. There you go. Let's go to bridge here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna search for beach. If you don't have this, let's just put beach here. And then we go to 3D assets. And then we can just play with this. So I can just go here and I can drag the nanite version, okay? And I can just drag this here. And I will have it here, okay? So notice that the colors of this one is really darker compared to the ones we had to the landscape material. So we may need to change the colors of the landscape again. Let's remove this one here, and we can just put it here. Now, notice that we download the nanite, but this one is very low poly. And the reason is this is actually downloaded on the background. So as I can just keep working, and when it's ready, it will change. So let's ignore this rock for now, and let's drag another one. So for example, this one here, we can just increase the size, put it here, rotate it around, just like this. And let's take a look at this one. Okay, so it will change eventually. Let's just be a little bit patient with this, okay? So let's take a look at this. Okay, let's move this around. Okay, let's put it like this. Okay, notice that it starts to change here. Okay, it started to change, update our meshes, so we don't really need to worry about that. Let's rotate this. Notice how far I can go just by rotating some assets here. I can just come here, and without duplicating, I can just go here, and I can just group them. So I don't want them to be like by themselves. I want them to be like together with something else. Now you see that I'm increasing the resolution here. Look at this. Now we have our nanite version. Looks much better. Okay, and let's keep moving this. Okay, we can put something here like this and rotate around, something like that, and we can move this around just like this, make it smaller. Okay, and just like that, I can start adding more and more meshes. I can even like merge these two to create like a new one, because these two will blend really nicely because they're part of the same biome. So I can just go here and do something like this, and it will look like a completely new rock. I can come here and I can rotate this around, and I can make it bigger, and I can rotate this one like this, and this one I can also rotate like this, and this will give me like a new asset. So I can just come here and maybe put it here in the corner. So when putting these assets, what we want to make sure is that we don't have these corners here that look very low poly. So what we will do is to make these ones like a little bit bigger, and we're gonna start filling here in my environment where I want, you know, my meshes to be. Okay, let's go back to our bridge. Let's take a look at what else we have. So all these beach boulders are really nice, so we can just go here and drag them and, you know, just make them big like this. It's nice to have some boulders here, and you can put them like here, something like this, make it big. Okay, and what I want to do is to first fill the bigger shapes. So how I'm gonna do this is I'm going to start you know, dragging some big assets such as this one. Okay, so let's go here and let's just drag this massive Nordic coastal here. Okay, and let's just put it in position. Okay, we don't really need to finish until it finish download. We can just put it here like this, and we can start making it really big. The idea, the key to finish these environments is to actually start from very little and make them really really big, and start from big to small until we have, you know, something that it's worth worth us watching. So this one looks nice. Let's rotate more bigger shapes here. As you can see, like, it's, you don't really need to come up with 1000 assets. You can just drag some of those and you will be able to fill your environment. Okay, so this one is changing, so it's taking a little bit of time. Okay, there you go. It's morphing time, where you will have your nanite asset very soon. Okay, just like this. I can just put something like this, and you don't really want to show the same one, so something like this could be okay. You want to merge them just like we did here. We can merge this to 2 or even 3 just by scaling them and rotate them around. We can just create new assets like this. Okay, and here we can play with the background here. See if we don't have the nanite version yet. We will have it soon, so we can just go here and rotate this around. Let's just leave it like that. Okay, let's try to look for another one, but first let's save, because doing this may happen that the engine crashes because it's doing a lot of operations. So let's drag another one. Let's maybe, you know, maybe this one looks like a nice one. Let's drag this here, and notice that it will update eventually, so you don't need to worry about it. So let's just drag this here, and just like this I can continue to create like my different assets using the low poly version until I find, you know, until my Quixel finishing downloading all these assets here. So let's just rotate it like this so we can have some more dynamic shapes, just like this. Okay, there you go. You can also come here and just try this out. We can scale this and we can just put it here, just like this, and also here. There you go. So we can have like our river boulders here, and also move it here, something like this, rotate it around, something like that. Okay, this one looks very dark, so we need to change the landscape color if we want to take a nicer look at our assets. So extract this one. This one looks pretty nice. Looks like a nice way to decorate our environment here. We can just come here and, you know, of course this one is darker, so we're gonna change all our textures to start being dark. Okay, so let's just drag here, and we can drag this one here to just like this, and we can duplicate this one. Okay, and duplicate again, just like that, and do the same here. Okay, with Alt and clicking, and just change, rotate those a little bit. And of course you can go even smaller, so we go from big to small. We can try to find like this one, or maybe let's try to find like a nice small rocky ground like this one. I can just put it like this and put it here in position, and we can just blend these two by, you know, just rotate them around and playing with it. And if you want to take a look at the scale, just play from here, and you will see that this one is quite big. So let's make it smaller. Okay, this one also we will delete it, and let's make it smaller here. Let's see what size we're having, like 1.5. This looks okay to me. Let's go here. Okay, something like this. And also this one, we can make it really small, something like 5. Okay, and just by doing that, we can just come here, put it in position here. There you go. We can just move this around, just like this. And also here, you can rotate and put it like this, just so it blends nicely with our environment. And just like that, we can keep going. But before doing that, I want to change the textures of my landscape so that everything can be nice. It can blend really nicely. So let's go to our Megascan surface, and let's start with the first one. Okay, so the first one will be a little bit darker. So let's go here to my brightness. Let's put something like 0.5. Okay, just by doing that, you can see that it starts blending much better. So let's put something like 0.4, 0.5 looks like a nice number. Okay, let's save it, and let's go here to my tie texture. Okay, so brightness, let's put this one back to 1, and let's take a look at the colors here. This mode is much useful when you want to blend this, so let's just leave it like that. Let's go to the next one, and let's bring the brightness back to 1. Well, looks like this does help. So let's go here, and here in my Thai beach, I will come here and bring the brightness back to 0.6, 0.3, 0.4, 0.45, maybe something like that. Okay, so now this one blends much better compared to the other one. Okay, now these rocks are like very different color. So what I can do is actually change the saturation a little bit to put something like 0.7, 0.8. So everything starts looking like less reddish, and I want to put this color closer. So let's go back here. Let's go to each one of these textures, and let's put something like saturation of 0.7. Okay, this is much better. Just by changing the saturation, you can change a lot how everything looks and feels. So let's go to our tie, and of course we can do this in the material, but I want to show you that you can also make big changes by doing something small here. So 0.7 here maybe, and then the saturation will be the 0.6 or 0.3. 0.5 looks like a nice number. Okay, there you go. And now let's go to the next one, which is rocky texture. Okay, let's go back to the saturation here. Brightness, let's put 0.2, 0.4. You have like the black pebbles. 0.7 looks a little bit nicer, or 0.8. And then we will go to the saturation, and 0.7 here, 0.5. This will make everything blend more nicely. Okay, there you go. You can also come back here to these ones and go to my material. Okay, and change here the saturation for this one, like 0.7. And this will blend much nicely. So I can do the same for this one. I can change the brightness, like 0.8. And also the saturation, like 0.6 or 0.7. And now everything starts blending much nicer compared to what we had before. And we change the lining, something like this, for example, everything starts looking much nicer. Okay, so let's decorate this map by putting more rocks. Okay, and this time we will do a small time lapse because this is very repetitive, so you can also see how I do it, and then we will continue to decorate this environment. Okay, so after set dressing our scene, where we have a lot of big elements in our level, like we have a lot of rocks, especially like in this area. I think it adds a lot of detail when you add the rocks in the shoreline. It's a nice touch. If you remove them, and it would look a little bit ugly. So make sure to have them, and also just a bunch of rocks here and there to remove the procedural feeling that we had when we create this landscape. And of course, this part, like it's like the main area, I can either move this around and scale it like this if I want, okay, to have like this part a little bit more important. And can put it like this. And this part I feel like it's making it too symmetrical, so I will just delete this one. Okay, so I have something like this. Now, I want to paint something. I want to paint some small elements. It's really nice that we have like these cobblestones from the sand texture we add. It a lot of detail. But I want to look for some beach assets. I already downloaded some. These are the Thai beach corals pack, and I just download a couple of them, which come with like 4 assets each. And when I go to my content browser, I just type Thai. And if you want to filter one type of asset, you can just go to the filter, and I can just put like texture, for example, and I can just toggle between these two to check which kind of assets I want to use. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to use the foliage mode to paint the small little assets. So we're going to do that by going here to our mode, then we go to foliage, and you see here that I have a bunch of options, and by default the paint is selected. I have a bunch of options for my brush, okay, which I cannot see because I don't have any foliage asset here. And here I will drop the assets that I want to paint. So for me, I want to paint all of this, okay? So I will just drag them, and I will download this here. Okay, so now that I have this, all of them have a check. If I uncheck this, this means this asset won't be painted. So let's take a look at how it looks like when we paint here. So as soon as I paint, you'll see that I have a lot of assets, okay? And that's too much for me. I feel like it's a little bit small, and the density is quite even between all of them. So I'm gonna select all of them, and then in the density, I'm going to reduce it like something like 10. Okay, and also the radius is like the minimum distance between each asset. So I will put something like 10 so it can be more evenly spaced. So that's better. The other thing, it's the size. So all of them are the same size, and one thing is they're pretty small. So I'm going to change the minimum scale from 2, and notice that it says scale X, but because I have the uniform here, it will scale in all the axes. So the maximum will be something like 5, maybe. Let's try it out. So let's paint again. So okay, this kind of works. Okay, and they are also being rotated. So we can change the paint density to here, like this, something like this, and be a little bit smaller. And also the max size, something like this. So you can have like small, medium, and big assets here. Okay, these small elements are really nice to have. You can paint here, and if you paint underwater, it will be like a nice touch that you have all these coral stones here in your beach. Like if you paint here, you don't want them to paint over the water. You want it to paint underwater, so make sure you go here and click here. And also the static mesh, you can put some of them in static mesh. Like for example here, we can paint some of them here, which is a nice touch. Like you can have some coral stones here and also here. Now, how do you decide when you want to paint? You need to decide which one is the focal point, which in our case is this area. So let's just say that you want to make sure that all the paths to the focal point are actually easily seen. So if you go here, you can start from here and then go like in a zigzag like this and like this. So this is where you will add the detail, and then you will add detail here, and then you will add detail here, and so on. So thing is that you don't add detail everywhere, just in some parts. Like here, for example, you want to add some detail here, then here you want to add some detail, and then here also some details here. also here. You can remove with shift. Okay, you don't want the coral stones to be in the on the small river we create, so we can put it here too. It will be really nice. Okay, and also here, like, try to paint it like in a very dynamic way. You don't want to paint everything like this. This is not really something you want. You just want to paint from a little bit everywhere like this, just so that we have like a nice sense of scale, right? So here I can just do like this, and I can also change the settings. I can start painting some bigger ones, like I can put 5 and 20. Take a look at how this looks. Now this one will look really big, so make sure you only put it in some areas. Like for example here, I can put it in these ones, okay? And it adds a really nice touch. I can even put it here, like let me put this back to 10 and 4. And if I paint here, this will add a lot of sense of scale, especially when I reduce the size of this. Let's just say 5 and 3. I'm not sure if you can see this from distance, especially if we put it here. But if you manage to see the small little rocks here, and then your brain analyze it and say, oh, this little rock is this size, and this little rock is also here far away, then it's easier for us to check how big our mountain is. Okay, so I will just start painting here little by little. I don't really need to be too picky about this. Just, just have fun with this. Play with the settings, just like different sizes, and put it in the rocks. And the good thing is that, like, if you paint here and then you rotate the rock, your assets will like snap to the rock. So that's a good thing, and you don't need to, you don't need to worry about painting again if you already have this. So let me fix this part really quickly. Here we go, like this. Okay, so just by doing that, we can paint almost anything. So the next thing I want to add, it's a little bit of foliage. Normally, when you want to have your scene to look nice, you want to have a bunch of different elements. So let's say one is a rock, the second one is the sand, okay? And we need a third one, which is kind of different because like the coral stones don't really make much difference. So let's add some plants here and some seaweed that actually have like different colors and different shapes. And this will make like your scene look much better. Okay, so let's add some seaweeds here. I already downloaded some of them. Like if I check my local, you will see that I have a bunch of assets here, like just 4 of them, which come with a lot of variation. If you want to find them, just go here, type C, and then go to 3D plants. And then you can just choose any one of those. Like I really like those, like ocean seaweed, and they're like red and orange, and I think it brings a lot of color to the scene. So let's just go to the bridge and let's just add them. Let's just click add in all of them, like here, add again, and then this one, and you should be good to go. So now that we have this, we have this assets in a separate folder called 3D plants. So it will be very easy for us to select all of them. So let's go to, let's save this first. And let's go to our painting mode in Foliage. And we're going to import this. Actually, it did import automatically because this is a 3D plant. It will import automatically to your scene. So let's shift select all of these rocks, which you can see how many of those you have in your scene. Let's click check here. So like that, we cannot paint anymore these rocks. We don't want to do that. We're just gonna paint this seaweed. So let's try again. Let's paint here to check how it looks like. So they need to load the textures first. It's gonna take a while. One thing, I feel like they are very small and the density is a little bit too high. So let's put something like 50 or 25, and then the radius, let's put something like 2. And this is much better. So let's change the size from 1 to 3, something like that. And there you go. Okay. So what I want to do is to paint the red ones first. So I will uncheck this, and then I will click and shift select all of those to paint the red ones. And the red ones are quite small, so I'm going to put something like 8. So that looks much better. Okay. What I want to do is to just paint here, and notice that they start here from the root, and that's okay. But I want them to be a little bit lower, so I will go to the C offset, and I'm going to put something like -5. So now there will be some buffer for me. Paint those. I will just paint some of them here, and also I will change the size to 15 to take a look at how it looks like. Something like that, yeah. Something like that looks nice. Let me shift click here. I only want to paint the red ones, and also here I want to paint inside the water. I think will be a nice touch. Also here. Okay, so now that we have this, let's try to paint these green ones, and let's remove the red ones. Okay, so let's change the size. Select all of those. The size will be from 2 to maybe 8. And we can just paint here. These plants don't really grow, in the ocean. It's more like in the shoreline. You don't want to put them in the, close to here. And also, maybe it can be a nice touch if we paint them underwater. So if we use paint here, you will be able to see the plants. And if we want to do that, maybe we can increase the density. Like, for example, something like 60. And this will give us like a lot of plants. We can do that. I think it's a nice touch. And we can also paint the red ones if we want. Let's select all of those and click Shift. Okay. Also here. Let's go to the other part of the shoreline. Don't want to leave it without set dressing, something like this. I feel like the red ones are a little bit too much for this, so let's just paint the regular ones. Okay. Let me hide the E for a moment. I want to make sure that all of those are in the right place. So I just go to foliage. Then here I can just come here and paint almost everywhere. Then Control H, and you will notice that now the size is a little bit too big for this one. So let me change the size. Let's put from 2 to 5. That's better. Okay, here. Something like that. And just by doing that, we are adding a lot of, you're adding a lot of detail to your scene. So the next thing is we're going to fix these LODs because, like, if we play, maybe it's fine. Let's play from here. Not really, it's not fine. So you can see that these textures come with an atlas that we see from very close. So we need to change that. Um, it's nice because it optimizes the performance, but you need to make sure the settings are right. So we're going to change that next. So if we want to fix the LODs, we just need to go to our content browser. Let's take a look at our settings here. And in this C width, you will see that you have like LOD 3 here, and this is like the fake card. And I feel like the LOD 2 is already low poly. I don't really need the super fake one for this. And the LOD 0 is quite low too. So I think I can remove the last one. So if I can just type here number of LODs, you will see that it's 4. And the reason is they start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So I will just remove it and put 3. Okay, and now when I go, sorry, I need to call here LOD settings, number of LODs, and apply the changes. Okay, you need to apply the changes, otherwise you won't be able to see it. So I will do the same for this. Like I will go to each one of those, go to number of LODs, 3, apply changes, and do the same one here. One last time, like 3, apply changes, and I will do the same for all of those, and I will come back. So I already apply all the LODs, and it starts to look much better. I feel we have like a lot of small assets here. We can tone it down later. One last thing is I want to add another type of foliage. I noticed I didn't have, so let's remove this and let's put all of those. Okay, and we put this one too. So we can put the minimum, the maximum like 3 or 4, and the density something like 25. Let's take a look at how it looks like. Okay, so we can just paint here, and we can have like the sea widths here. Okay, and you need to paint like this, and we can also start painting here like some nice foliage assets from distance. Usually where there is water, there will also be plants. Okay, so it's normal to put them around here. Want to put them here, also a nice idea. Also you can try to put all of those here like that, and also here. They add a lot of value to your scene like that. Okay, so I want to also add the red ones. Okay, and let me remove this. There is another type of foliage I want to add, which is this one. Okay, and I have 0 of this. I know we haven't add. So let's go back here, and the maximum will be like 5. And also let's change the radius, the density to 5. Okay, that looks much better. Okay, and let's increase the brush size and paint this everywhere like this. Not so much. Okay, then paint density increase a little bit. Okay, something like this. And you can do the same here. And also here. Okay, and also you can paint some rocks if you want. You can add the rocks here. Okay, something like this. And also let's remove all of those. Let's select all of those and check again. And let's start painting some rocks and maybe a couple of grass textures here. Just like that. I really like how it looks like. There you go. Okay, we can paint here a little bit. Also paint here. All these little details will add a lot when we finish our scene. Okay, so paint again here. Okay, also here, and we're pretty good to go. So let's continue to polish this level. Okay, so one thing I want to add before adding more elements, it's to add a little bit of different foliage. I found this tropical palm. You can choose anything you want. Like if you go to collections, tropical beach, you will be able to see a lot of different assets that can match our scene. Like this one, for example, or this one. I feel like why I decide to add this asset is because we have a lot of small plants, which is great because it adds a lot of sense of scale to our environment, but we don't have some bigger plants. So let's add some tropical palms here. And I already have this here. It's here. Okay. So I'm going to my level here, going to my foliage, and here I already select those. So everything is not selected. Let's just check this, and let's check the density, maybe 1 or something like that. Something like that. Okay. Or maybe 2, and the size maybe from 2 to 5 looks like a good number. Okay, so these plants are much bigger. Is exactly what we want. So let's, with shift click, we will remove those. Okay, and let's just add them in some areas, like for example here, and add them here too. The idea is to have some big plants surrounding our smaller plants, like this one. Okay. So you can see that as soon as I add this, it adds a lot of color to my scene. So let me shift click this. It just looks really, really nice. So I can do the same here. I can add some plants here, just like that. And with that, I will be able to have my environment with a little bit more variation on the foliage side. So now the next thing we need to do is to start doing the finishing touches for this thing. Now that we have our scene, we need to add a background. So usually the scene will have like a foreground, which we have here, a middle ground, and a background. And you could argue that we have our background already, which is here, but we can actually increase the detail of our background by putting some mountains here or some cliff from distance. So I'm going to my bridge here, and when you type cliff, you have some 3D assets. I find that this one is quite good, this one and this one. So let me just grab this. Okay, and what we will do is to just drag this asset here and make it really, really big, like something like 15. Okay, I can be like even bigger. Okay, something like that. There you go. And then we can grab some assets here, like this one, for example. There you go. And let's put like 15 inside. And let's just try to create something interesting. We can put something like this, rotate it around, make it big like this here, something like this. Okay, you can do the same here, like we can actually make this part like this. So we close the holes, and this one we can just rotate around, and we can make this one bigger like this. Nice to have like a small little cave there you can use. Okay, so now that we have this, we're going to create a pack level instance blueprint so we can modify this better. I already have one, but I'm going to create another one. So if I click in all of those, right click, then go to level, and then create pack level actor. I'm going to leave this to the default settings. Okay, and it will be very obvious what this does when I click. Okay, it will basically group this, and I will call this mass background 2. And then here I will put the same here in this folder I already created before. Okay, you can just choose to save them in anywhere you want. And now you will see that I have these assets here. And you can notice that I have some background going on here. So what you can do here is to actually move it around. And looks like we didn't add this to the to our pack level instance blueprint actor. So let me show you how it works. If I go here, I can just go here to my bridge. Okay, let's go level and then edit, and you will see that everything turns gray. So what I will do is to go back to my bridge and drag this one and put it here, and maybe put something like 20 on size, or we can put it here like that. Okay, and we can rotate it. We can even put something like 50 if we want it. Okay, but let's just put 15 here. Okay, and notice what happens here is that as let's duplicate this to something like this. Then here also I want to have some small island surrounding this like big island here, something like this. Okay, so now that you have this, you can just go right click, level, commit, and now everything will have like this. Everything will be updated. So let me just play with this and let's try to move it around. We can scale it, something like this, and we can of course rotate it, put it here. Okay, and we can move it very, very far. There you go, something like that. And also this one, I don't really like this one, not so much, so I created another one before. But just like this, I can just come here. I can put something like 5. Okay, and with this I will have like a nice background. So let me put this into position. Maybe something like this could be nice. I should go more far, something like that. Okay, and I can just rotate it like this, and I can do the same here. I can just copy. I can put the same background here like that, and I can put it very, very, very far, and I can make it bigger. Like if I want, I could put like 8, and I can just move it around like this, just so we have some background here. There you go, something like that. Let's do the same here. Thing like that will be nice. Okay, so now that we have our background, our scene is starting to look much better. So let's move this around. This one's a little bit too big, I think. So the idea is you don't want to put anything here because this silhouette, it's what's grabbing the attention. This one has like a nice silhouette here, like it has like a hole. Like if you put the asset here, you're losing this silhouette. So you don't really want to do that. Be careful. Otherwise, your main area will lose the interest. So this one is fine. You want your background to always point at your focal point, which is this one. I feel like this silhouette, it's also being lost. So what I will do is to just drag this and put it like this. Much better. I don't want to uh, change the silhouette. So now I decide this is my focal point. So let's try to increase the detail of this area. If you want to add more detail, a really easy way is to use decals. So if you go to bridge and then go to the category of decals, you will find a lot of different variations, okay? So I already download some of them. These are one of my favorites. If I put Roman and then go to decals, you will see that I have like this Roman fresco broken ornate, okay? You can also have something like this, or you can have like different patterns. All of this will bring your scene to like a different level, okay? We can even try this one, okay? I already download some of them, so I will show you which ones I used. So I have my graffiti, so just so you can take a look at how big this step is. If you put something like this, okay, let's just check our scene without this, okay? Let's just appreciate how pretty our scene looks like, but there's something missing, okay? So as soon as I put my graffiti here, and let's put F, take a look at where it's pointing. So make sure like the arrow is pointing in the direction of the surface you want to project the decal into. You can put something like 5 or 10. Okay, then just go here, then go up, then rotate, and then this one will be like 15, and it's like this. Okay, so now look at this. Now suddenly our scene has like a bright color here that is catching the attention. Now, if you see this in a way, like if this is a balance, like you will have like something here, then you will have something here, your balance. As soon as you put this one here, this one will be super heavy, like here. Okay, so this will add more importance to this area. But I don't want this smiley face. You can put it if you want, and actually there is no right or wrong for this kind of thing. I feel like it's really a nice touch. But for me, I feel like my scene has a lot of greens, so I want to put something red, and this is the reason I download this Roman fresco broken ornate. So if I go here, I can just grab this here. Okay, let's just point into the right direction first. So something like this, and then let's scale this like 15. Okay, and look at what's going on here. Just by doing that from distance, you will see that our ornate it's working, and we're having like a red part in our stone. Now, it really doesn't matter what this is. What we're looking for is the color. So if I go to my outliner and type decal, you will be able to select this easier. So if I go here, I can just rotate. I can also scale this like this. Okay. And the idea is to watch from distance. So we can just scale this like this. There you go. Something like that. And we can even duplicate this and put another one here. We can rotate it like this, and then we can move it around. Just a tiny bit, okay? There you go. In the edge, I think it's really nice. We can even move it around like this, for example. So we have like a nice fade, and just like that, we have like our mountain with some red stuff there. We can try to put some like sculpted details into our rock. So let's just try to put this one here, and let's put something like 15. Okay, and we can rotate this around. something like this, and we can of course move it so it can fade out. And whenever you have this, the idea is to blend in with the details here. You don't want this white thing here, although you could do it. What you can do is go to the material here, and here you will find an option for overlay. You can just put it like darker, or maybe this color. Okay, and you can also change like the overlay intensity. Like if you put something like this color here, now you will have like a very saturated decal, which is nice. So let's tiny bit of it. It's a tiny bit. Okay, you cannot really see the decal here, but just by adding some parts with saturation, you will be able to see more of the details here. Okay, you can appreciate how nice this is when you take a look from distance. So if you just see it here, you won't be able to see it. Like, for example, here. Okay. If we move this a little bit here, now that's too much. Just want a little bit. Okay. So just by doing that, we have our rock here. Now it's time to add some lighting and effects and post-processing to make our scene look more finished. Okay, so let's change the atmosphere of our level. The best way is just to go to your sky atmosphere, and you will find a bunch of options here. I find like this one can help a lot if you want to have like a different look. Uh, this one is very cool. Then is this one, the scattering scale. You can change this to have like a more foggy scene. I find like I just want a little bit of this, not too much, a little bit. By default, it's like super low, but I want to put something a little bit bigger, something like that. Okay, it looks a little bit more foggy. Kind of like it. And the other things, this one of course changed a lot, but you don't want to touch it. And then is the art direction. You can basically change the color. You can put something like this if you want to have something more like a brighter color, or if you want to have more like a pale color, you can change this one, put something like this, or maybe like this is fine. Okay, so let's just leave it like that for now. Okay, the next thing, it's we want our directional light. Let's go here, type directional light, click here, and there are a couple of things I want to change here. One is the light shaft. Okay, so if I go to the light shaft, we have the knob, but I also have the light shaft bloom. Now looks like nothing happened, and that is because our sun is here. But if I rotate with Control L, you can see that I can have my bloom here, and I have like a really nice area the with the sun here pointing the god rays to me. Very nice if you want to look like want to make like a cinematic or something like that. For me, I feel like I just want to try different lighting setups. Like for example, this one or the one we had before actually was pretty good. I'm going to leave it like that. Let's rotate a little bit. Try to find something that interesting. If you want to take a look at how it looks, go with the detail lining, so you can take a look at the shadows or even the lining only. This will help you to choose how you want your lining to be. This one looks quite good. Okay, let's state. Can also go here. This is what we had before, so Control C. It's actually pretty good, the setup we had. I want to have something fancy. Maybe something like that. There you go. You can change it later, of course. Okay. The bloom, it's a little bit too strong, so I'm going to change the bloom scale to 0.05, something like that. If I put like 1, it will be too heavy, 0.05. And if I remove the bloom, of course, you don't have this light shaft going through. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing we want to do is to go to the post process. So let's go here and put a post process volume. Drag it here. Okay. And this little volume will add a post processing effect to your scene. Now, it only works if I'm in this volume. So I can make it super big to have my entire scene. So let's just change something really quickly here. You don't need to understand what's going on now. Go to the type saturation. Okay, so we change the saturation to 0. Nothing has happened, but as soon as we go here, you see our scene is in black and white, which is what we want. So if you want to use this outside of this box, you can just put unbound, and this one will call like infinite extend unbound. Click check, and now when I just go out of this box, I don't really affected by the size of this box. All my post process is applied to all the world. So let's go back this saturation to 1. Okay, and now that we're here, we can just play with the settings. Saturation is one of those. If we want more like a bright color, we can put something like 1.2 or 1.1, something like this. You don't want to put it like this, it will be very like too much. The secret to having a nice post processing, it's basically to play a little bit with the colors. Who's here in the shadows. Okay, not too much. Okay, then the idea is to play with the settings, but do not be too much of a. Do not put something like this. If you want to put the bloom, just put it a little bit, or either remove it if you want. The exposure, we can leave it like that. Chromatic aberration. This one is really cool. Put a tiny bit of it, not too much. You want to put a tiny bit. Okay, the dirt mask we're not gonna choose. Then the lens flares, we can try if we want. Sometimes it's a nice touch, sometimes it's not. So just putting it a little bit can be good. I'm going to remove it for now. Okay. Image effects, we're not really going to touch it. Only the thickness intensity. I'm gonna put something like this, like 0.5. Okay, just so we have like a nice frame here. Okay, saturation, I feel like this one is a bit too much. We put something like 0.7 or 2, can be a little bit better. Okay, also you can try to rotate around. You have like different lining setups. Okay, depending on what you're looking for. I feel like this one is quite good. Okay, so let's keep going. The next one is the film. This one is really important. So let's type post processing here. I lost my post process volume. The slope. So it basically will increase the contrast, and the more realistic your scene you want to be, the less contrast you want to have. So just play a little bit with the settings, not too much. Tiny bit. You don't want to be something like this. You will break it. So let's just something like this, and be like this, for example. The shoulder doesn't really affect that much. White clip, not that much. The black clip, of course, it affects a lot, so you don't want to change it too much. I leave it at 0. Global illumination, just leave it like that. Reflections also like that. And ambient occlusion, we won't really touch it. Motion blur is basically when we move the camera. If we move too fast, like everything will move, like will add a sense of a speed to your scene. Then the grain intensity, it can be a nice touch. Like if I put something like this, you will see like have a little grain here. Like everything you don't want to put so much. If I put like this, it will be very big. Want to be very subtle, like this, and this one it's a tiny bit. You don't want to put that much. Okay. Cool. So next, I think that's pretty much it. The last thing I want to do is to go to my directional light, and I will save this position. Okay. Save this rotation. Copy. What I want to do is to try some other angles here. This one is also really nice. This is pretty much what we had before, I think. Okay, so I think I like this one better. Okay, so this is basically what you do to add the last touches. Another thing is the atmosphere. Sorry, the fog. The fog will add a lot to your scene. Fog density, you can decrease it or increase it. And you also have a secondary fog data, which you can increase. Okay. Have the fall off. You can affect like more areas of your scene. Okay. The next one, the volumetric fog. Of course, you want to use this. Okay. So next you can play with the settings a little bit. With the volumetric fog, it will fit a little bit more real. Like that. There you go. Okay, so everything starts looking really nicely. Let's use the fog density. Otherwise, it will look very foggy. We don't really want that. And that's it. That's how you polish your environments. Let's try to play here. Play from here. The plants look a little bit big. If you ask me, we can change the size. From this view, it's quite alright. Take the size of these ones. Even the small little rocks that we had before, that we thought they were, you know, big, small. I mean, they're not. So we may want to polish this a little bit. Maybe I will do this on my side. But this is pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. And remember to subscribe to watch more content like this. And if you want to learn more, make sure to check our website. We have a lot of premium tutorials if you want to learn more.